Yo, what's up, guys? This is D Brown with Trackheads. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Trackheads. So, we just had the USATF championships not too long ago, a couple days ago. Very interesting change of events, very interesting events that were run, very interesting just whole situation of just the day. It was taking place in Oregon. We did not see it on TV. We saw it a day afterwards on Peacock. And on USATF TV. Not the best circumstances, but a lot of quality races in the field for those particular days. I believe it took place Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I did some predictions of the actual race, at least the sprint events that I knew: the 100, 200, 400, 100-meter hurdles, 110 hurdles, and then 400-meter hurdles. I was pretty accurate. I think I got about 90% of my picks right. A lot of surprises, like I said. A lot of people did not even make it that I had picked to win, didn't even make it past the prelims or the semifinals, which is unfortunate. A lot of people went down to injuries. A lot of people went down because of just, mismanaging the rounds, or just didn't make it. Stuff happens. It's a very tough meet, very tough circumstances to make top 3 in the world. It's probably harder to make it through the USATF championships than it is actual national events. So yeah, we're gonna go over just some of the recaps, some of the most important races that I thought that really shocked me or was really surprising to me during this weekend. All right, so let's get started. So first things first, let's talk about the men's 100. For me, I had the picks of Noah Lyles, Christian Coleman, and Crevant Charleston. I pretty much got it right on the head, except I got the Noah Lyles and Crevant Charleston were in mixed places. So the actual winners were Crevant Charleston. He won at 995. Christian Coleman, I believe, was 996. And then Noah Lyles was able to come in there in the later stages of the races and ran 10 flat. Not very surprising in terms of that final outcome. I know it was going to be those 3. The dark horses I had picked were like Trayvon Bromell and Marvin Bracey. Unfortunately, Trayvon Bromell was dealing with some injury issues with his other Achilles. So his season is unfortunately shut down, which is, unfortunate. The Marvin Bracey did not even make it out the prelims. I'm not sure what was going on, if he fell, if he almost tripped. I thought it was a hamstring issue. I saw the particular race. It just looks like something got caught. His rhythm was just kind of off. So really unfortunate to see. But like I said, the 3 picks that I had coming in that were the most consistent all year, they were the ones that eventually snatched it up. So no complaints in that. For the women's 100, again, that was one of those races that a lot of surprises. I think the biggest non-surprise was that Sha'Carri Richardson won. She won in tremendous fashion, a 10:82, I believe her time was. She went 10:7, 10:7, 10:8 low. You can't really complain about that. There was no one even close to her in terms of top end speed and just her mechanics and everything like that. So a really, really quality run from her. Then this is where it starts to get kind of funky. I had Aaliyah Hobbs for second. She did not make it out of the semifinals. It was somewhat disclosed that she had a kind of like a knee issue that was kind of bothering her. It was very interesting because she ran so well early in the year, and it really brings us to the conversation of winning when it doesn't really matter. Then when it really matters, it's just, it doesn't come together. The rhythm that she was on, she was running 6'9" consistently in the 60. And with that kind of rhythm that what she was running, it was almost projected that she was going to run a 10:7, even maybe like a 10:6 if she was able to hold that technique in those last 40 yards or 40 meters. So really unfortunate for her. I hope she's healthy, but because of that unfortunate mishap, a lot more more people were able to sneak in there. Brittany Brown made it in the 100 for second place. Big surprise. I did not even have her picked for a 100. No dark horse, no nothing. I actually had her picked for my 200 because she has a medal in the 220. I believe it's 2019, the only American to really medal in the sprints. So it was just very surprising to see her in the 100 under a new coach. So it's really a great situation for her. And she didn't run the 200, which was just pretty crazy. I think she could have done something real dangerous in there, but she ran the 100, ran 10.90, and killed it. Congratulations to her. And last but not least, we have Tamari Davis. She's been consistent, really flying under the radar. She's one of those young ladies who has had tremendous amount of talent, has been just really consistent year by year, but is surprisingly young. I think she's one of the youngest in the field. She's just really slept on, really low key, not too loud, doesn't attract too much attention. But when she runs, you can almost count on her to start making these teams from here on out. So I think she's gotten used to just how this system works. So really proud of her in a way that she was able to just capitalize on that moment to sneak in for third. So yeah, great run for the 100-meter runner. So next with the 200, we have one of the biggest surprises for the males. We, of course, Ariane Knighton, he wasn't the surprise. The biggest surprise I had not making it, well, first, let me just show you my picks. So my picks were Ariane Knighton, Freddie Curley, Terrence Laird. My big sleepers were Robert Gregory and Josephus Lyles. Josephus Lyles did not make it past the prelims. I think he ran like 20.9. He may have an injury issue. He doesn't strike me as a 20.9 at all, especially last year he ran sub 20 for the first time, I think at like 1993 or 1995, somewhere around there, just missing out. So I think he just had an injury issue. It's unfortunate. I'm sure he'll be back. Terrence Laird, I think he did make the finals, but he didn't, of course, make top 3. The biggest surprise, Robert Gregory, he ran 1990, I think, for 5th place. But the biggest surprise of this meet was Mr. Fred Curley. I was in utter shock and disbelief that he did not make these finals. He got 4th place overall. He just, after the prelims, he ran a pretty cool prelim, but after that, he did not look light. He did not look in control of his body. Very pronounced forward lean on the curve, which I've run track for quite some time. I coach now. I'm not no biomechanist on that elite level, but I'm gonna just use my common sense. If you have one of the fastest 100s, and if you have the fastest 400s, logically you would think your 200 will be a perfect marriage. We saw that with so many athletes, from Michael Norman to Wade Van Niekerk to even Michael Johnson. When you are able to have that speed and that strength, we saw it with Gabby Thomas. When you're able to have that speed of the 100 plus the strength of the 400, that 200, it adds that second gear coming off the curve. But the biggest thing that I saw with Freddie Curley was that he just seemed like he was not able to find a rhythm, a comfortable rhythm coming into the curve. It seems like he was running a fly 120, and the first 80 was just staying with the pack. And when you're running for just places like that, that's not championship running. That's not championship running, because when this field is so elite, it's a game of inches. I mean, he ran 986, I believe, and missed out on 0.01 by Courtney Lindsay. So really unfortunate for him. It could be an ankle issue that he had from 2021. That's why he ended up dropping the 400. I mean, the dude's like 6'4", I think like 205 to 215 pounds. Like, he's a big dude. And, I think he has to do some fine ankle mobility work so that he can push off the curve and keep his positioning. Because that pronounced lane, it just seems like all his power was just not where it's supposed to be. It wasn't snapping down the ground. His hips were behind him, and then he tried to go upright coming off the curve in the last 120. So it was really unfortunate just to see that. Hopefully he can bounce back and give us some quality, but if anything, it just showed that, he's a little bit vulnerable. His vulnerability in the 200, still 19.8, still a fast time, but it really showed that he can be beat, because he was unbeaten pretty much the whole year. And I mean, he was killing it. Opened up in a 1992. Was definitely expecting him to drop like a 19.7, 19.8, or just win, or be, really put pressure on Ariane Knighton. Ariane Knighton just ran away from people. The biggest surprise also was Kenny Bednarek. He came through. I did not have him projected at all, because I haven't really seen him open up like that. I mean, he ran like a 20.2, and but he was fully in this race. I mean, Ariane Knighton kind of pulled away from him in those last 20-30 meters, but didn't pull away crazy, but just, he's a championship runner, and he's another one that has a really great 400-meter PB, but also has a pretty decent 100-meter PB. So, you can see the engine working for him. I think if Fred Curley gets that curve right, he can be a force to be reckoned with, hopefully heading into next year when it comes to that championship time for the 200. So, big surprise in that 200. For the women, let's transition. For the women, we saw Gabby Thomas take it away. That was my number one pick right there. I had Gabby Thomas, Abby Steiner, and Sha'Carri Richardson. Sleepers were Brittany Brown and Tamara Clark. It did not turn out that way. Gabby Thomas ran away with this like no competition. Really, I mean, had some people with her on the curve, but my gosh, I mean, that's what happens though when you have a 400-meter personal best is number 2 for the United States this year, 49.63, I believe her time is. And then only an 11:08, but for her, I mean, that's very close to her personal best. I don't think she broke 11 seconds. I mean, she's able to hit that second engine coming off the curve and really just get into her you know, that speed endurance and that maintenance coming home. 21:59 or 21:60 was not the time I was thinking that she was gonna run, but she looked really great. Sha'Carri Richardson, she looked really great. I was really thinking that after that 21:61 prelim that she was gonna kind of fade away, but her rhythm just looks really great. And that 21:96 looked, you know, surprisingly smooth, even though I'm sure she was in a state of fatigue. So she showed that she can handle the rounds. So she showed that she can run the 1 and the 2. And the big surprising thing about that 21:61 just shows that she has the speed endurance necessary to, if she can be on that 10.5 pace in the 60-70 meters part of her 100, she can hold that all the way through. So I mean, it was slightly wind aided, but not by much. That was like a plus 2.5 wind. So really, really exciting race. And then who ended up taking it? And then Kayla White came in and just snatched it. You know, I did not have Kayla White on my prediction chart at all. But that's my mistake because she was really competitive at the beginning of the year. I think she even beat Abby Steiner in the 200 or 100, I forget. But she was really competitive at the beginning of the year. And you know, running 22.4 and 22.3, really putting pressure on Abby Steiner. We just thought that because of, you know, just the way that Abby Steiner's been running all year, really consistent in the 22.2s, that she was going to crack, you know, running like a 21 and some change. But it just didn't happen. She said that she had like a little bit of an injury. She had like a bone spur, which is very similar to Trayvon Bromel's injury. So really unfortunate for her. But, you know, she's very young in the sport. I mean, still had a quality run. It's just, you know, it's really great to see Kayla White shine through. And this is why we have the actual race. You know, you can predict all day, but if you're not executing, or you have like a sort of a misstep, you know, then, you know, someone could come through and snatch it, and you can make your dreams come true. So shout out to Kayla White. Definitely made that happen for her. And I mean, we have a pretty good field coming, you know, 22.0 and faster for the United States. That's not too bad at all. Next, we have the 400-meter dash. So the 400-meter dash, for me, I had Vernon Norwood, Ryan Willie, Justin Robertson, and I had Elijah Godwin as a dark horse. Wasn't sure if he was going to come back because he was injured. I think that 100, that 4x1 he ran in the NCAAs definitely took him out because he was nowhere to be found, which was crazy. But it was a pretty quality race. I didn't know Bryce Devin was even like in the mix like that. I mean, he's a quality runner, but yeah, I just didn't have him listed. I mean, he didn't come in with any fast times really that I saw leading up into this race. But I mean, he came through and killed it. He looked really good from his first rhythm. I mean, he showed that that he's a force to be reckoned with. I mean, he was a force to be reckoned with coming from Texas A&M. So I mean, when you look at it now, it's not a surprise that he was in that top 3, especially with how quote unquote soft the 400-meter dash is for the men. But I mean, hey, I mean, he switched coaches. He trains with Vince Anderson now, who's a pretty sprint-based coach. So he's looking great. I mean, he went 44.2, the personal best with the, you know, he had a bunch of injuries at the beginning of the year. So definitely a great takeaway from him in terms of just winning that USA championship. Vernon Norwood did pretty good. Okay, Mr. Consistency. I mean, 44, I think 4 was the time that he ran. I mean, he's knocking on the door of just consistency. I think he just needs the perfect race to hit that sub 44, and he'll be in a really good situation. Very, very close though. His finishing has been looking really well. Very consistent, and he's been very patient. I mean, people pass him going into the 300, and he seems to shift gears and make it happen. Excuse me. I think the big surprise is Quincy Hall. I mean, he's been running pretty well all year. I just thought he was going to run the 400-meter hurdles, but he doesn't seem like he's a hurdler anymore. I mean, he's running really consistent. I mean, he PR'd 44 and some change to snatch that last spot. Definitely want to shout out Justin Robinson, though. I mean, that dude, out of I had Ryan Willie predicted. He didn't necessarily, you know, execute, I guess, how he was supposed to, but the fact that Justin Robinson beat him in the finals just shows that I mean, dude is ready to go. He's ready to go. I think he's definitely going to be on the 4x4 pool between him and between him and Ryan Willie. And definitely going to make a good contribution to the 4x4 team and some of these relay teams where they can give the open runners some much needed rest. This was probably like this next event is probably not next event, but the women's 400 was probably like the biggest meet that people were looking, or biggest event people were looking for in this particular race. We had Sydney McLaughlin. Of course, my picks were Sydney McLaughlin, Britton Wilson, Talitha Diggs, and I had Lena Irby as my dark horse. That's pretty much on the money how it went. Sydney McLaughlin ran away with it, 48.73, I believe. Just missing the American record set by Sonia Richards-Ross at 48.70 back in like 2006. Then we had Britton Wilson. She came through with the boot. Ran a mid 49, which is pretty impressive. I mean, to do all that cross training and still maintain her shape is a really good look. And mind you, she has a 49.13 PB from I think the regional meet or the SEC meet, one of those meets. So I mean, we have about 50 days left, 48 days. That's like a month and a half left for her to train and get that healed up. I think she's gonna drop another low 49 to high 48s. Hopefully, we're gonna see heading into these races. Next was Talitha Diggs. A lot of people didn't have Talitha Diggs picked for the races, but again, I mean, she even split the heck out of that race. She was at like 46 and some change at the 300, and hawked a lot of people down to snatch that last spot. Lena Irby had third, but she came through with a 49.9 and just took it from her. But like I said, everyone came through. I mean, the two, Sydney McLaughlin and Britton Wilson, came through at like 35 high, 35 mid, 35 low. And Talitha Diggs was probably like 5th or 6th at the 300 and just came through with that strength. And also, like I said, she's been doing a lot of 100 meter and 200 meter work, so she's probably one of the fastest in the field foot of speed wise. So she made that count and made those first 200-300 meters feel very comfortable for her to come through and get that. So I predict that her coach is going to be having her do some more strength work, get her used to maybe coming through at 35 high so that she can have a good finish and probably drop that 49 to a 49 low, very, very low. That's my prediction. But and Lena Irby, shout out to Lena Irby. She's been doing her thing, snatched a 50.1. That's the fastest that she's done in a while. She's usually been stuck in the 51 seconds. She's a 49-second athlete, so if she continues to keep that rhythm, it should be a very good race season for her going forward. And she can contribute to that 4x4 prelims, mixed relays and stuff like that, or even the main relay if she continues to progress and maybe hit a 49 this year. And next we have the 100 meter hurdles. So my picks were, I had Kenny Harrison, Alacia Johnson, and Masai Russell, and I had Nia Ali for the dark horse. And a dark horse she was. She came through and snatched it at 12:35, I think her time was, to win the whole thing. I mean, only reason why I picked Nia Ali for the dark horse is because she's missed consistency in terms of, she's kind of like Andre DeGrasse, ironically, because they're together in a sense where they don't start their season traditionally like at a super fast. They're not running super fast times, but they peak really, really well, where they may not be in the mix. I mean, she was running like 12.6s and 12.5s and 12.7s and 12.8s at the beginning of the season. But my gosh, when it was time for her to run, she snatched that down to a 12.3, shocked everybody in the field. Kenny Harrison came through to snatch second. And again, Masai Russell, her biggest mistakes in the collegiate season was that she always was hitting that first hurdle, especially in those championship races. I think SECs, it was the last 2 hurdles. NCAAs and regionals, it was the first hurdle. And that's what cost her the race. This time she executed and was able to put herself in a great position. And Alacia Johnson was the person that made the biggest mistake. She hit that last hurdle, the 10th hurdle, ruined her momentum a little bit. And Masai Russell was able to keep it clean and just, kind of take that from her a little bit. But again, quality races, 100 meter hurdles for the U.S. is one of the hardest teams to make probably in the world. So, I mean, doesn't mean that no one is not a great athlete. It's just that, it's just what happens on the day. So shout out to her, shout out for the execution. But those are the top 3 that I had. And I think everyone made it, which is a tremendous job. So 110 meter hurdles, let's keep it going. 110 meter hurdles, I predicted Daniel Roberts, Devin Allen, Cordell Tinch. Daniel Roberts, got it. He got it. I think he went like 13:08, I believe, or 13:0. He went 13-0 something, but he did his thing. You know, he took control of the race and did not let it go. I think the most impressive thing that I saw about the 110 meter hurdles was that Cordell Tinch also did long jump, jumped 18 flat, 18 meters even, and then still came back and did a tremendous performance in the 110 hurdles, almost getting first place. Like, this wasn't a runaway race for Daniel Roberts. Like, Cordell was very, very close into the race, and he looked very comfortable. Very, very comfortable. He looks like a very elastic athlete, as you can tell with long jump. Very explosive, very elastic. So I'm looking forward to see how he continues to drop his time. And I think we can look forward to another sub-13 performance from him later on into the season. Again, Devin Allen was a big surprise. I don't think he made it to the finals, and if he did, he didn't, necessarily execute how he was supposed to. I think he's dealing with some injury, which is unfortunate. But I think he'll be back. He's definitely a talented athlete. So it should be very interesting just to see how he, does the rest of his season. The person who snatched the last place was Freddie Christensen, pardon my pronunciation, but yeah, he's someone that I've seen his name with the 60 meter hurdles in the indoor season. Keeps it very close, so it's good that he was able to execute and really just snatch that third spot in order to qualify for the Worlds at Budapest. All right, so for this last event, I have the men's 400 meter hurdles. So I think it was no surprise. The people I had picked were Rai Benjamin, CJ Allen, and Trevor Bassett. And then my dark horse was Khalifa Rosser. And that's exactly how it went. Rai Benjamin came through 46.62, killed it. CJ Allen was second, 48, I think 12. And then Trevor Bassett was 48 and some change as well. And ironic enough, Khalifa Rosser came through in fourth place. So everyone pretty much, stacked up how I thought they were going to stack up. Rai Benjamin, he went 47 like mid in May. There was unless he had a serious injury, there was nothing that told me that he wasn't going to not just win, but execute really well and run 46. What's interesting enough, though, is that the way he ran this 400 meter hurdle race was very smooth, he had a lot of energy after the run. He wasn't exhausted. He said he changed up a little bit of his training, a little bit more strength work. So I think now that he's at that 46, where of course Warholm is as well, I think that he can definitely be very competitive heading into this season. So I'm looking forward to see how he actually does and how he executes as we continue to go into some of these races. Next event that I have is the final event is the 400 meter hurdles for women. So this was a great race. Shamir Little took it. The predictions that I had, what were my predictions? I don't even have my predictions on me, but I pretty much thought that it was going to be Shamir Little. I think that Lila Muhammad was going to sneak in there, and that third spot was really open. I think I had Anna Cockrell, which she did her thing. It's top three. They all came through. This was pretty wide open. Sydney McLaughlin's not in the race. Dalila Muhammad is in there. Shamir Little's in there. And then there's a big gap between everyone else. So there wasn't, that third place was really open. There was no one I really saw that was going to really just take it like that. All the 400 meter hurdle heat ended up being in the 400, So I was really interested to see Dalila Muhammad finish the way that she did. I think she could have won that race, but I think she's just trying to keep it conservative, and she's just happy that she was able to qualify, because this is one of the few times I've seen her close in the final stages of the race when she's not super far behind. She was able to actually close on Shamir Little. I'm not sure it's because Shamir Little was decelerating or Dalila was maintaining and accelerating to catch her, but nonetheless, a 53.5 and 53.3 is a respectable time, and they're both coached by the brothers, the Johnson brothers, Boogie Johnson and the new head coach of Arkansas. So it was really interesting just to see that combination of just strength and speed from those two, and it should really be a really quality run going forward. I think that Lila Muhammad is going to be a good year for her now that she has a little bit more breathing room to try and execute, assuming that Sydney McLaughlin doesn't continue just to press that 400 and stay, if she continues to press the 400 and leave the 400 meter hurdles open, at least for this year, I think that Lila can get down to maybe like 52.5 in 50 days, assuming that she, stays injury free, which will put a lot of pressure on Femke Bol going forward. So yeah, these is just a recap. Like I said, the 400 meter hurdles. This is a recap of the USA Championships to make it to Budapest. I may go over the Jamaican Championships. We'll see. But if you like what you saw today, like I said, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Don't forget to throw some comments in there. And I look forward to giving some more feedback on just the rest of the season, how we're looking for Budapest, because some of these events are locked and loaded, especially that women's 400 meter hurdles. They got some real quality races coming up. So thanks for watching, guys. This is D Brown with Trackheads. Peace.